Childhood Cancer Perspective. Thank you all for sticking with me through all of these episodes, and welcome to Season 2. I have done so far 30 episodes of this podcast, and you all have been amazing, allowing me to share our story, share our journey, or as in the final episode of Season 1, our shit show. I have got some things that I want to get into this season that are going to be a little bit different. Maybe they're going to be a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more involved, but I want to talk about some things that are kind of going on in the world today that really affect the way that our kids are looked at and the way that our kids are taken care of and the way that our kids are seen. And it's something that we've dealt with in the past here as a family, and we've dealt with recently when it comes to comedy. Now, comedy is something that is supposed to make you laugh. It's supposed to take you out of the world that you're in right now. It's supposed to allow you to laugh at all the bad things that are going on or all the things that are going on that are good. Just supposed to make fun of it, take you out of reality, give you an opportunity to smile, and just escape for a little while. However, one thing that I've continued to say, and I think what's been pretty prominent in the world and the community that I'm a part of, is that comedy is not a carte blanche. Okay, comedy does not mean that you get to do whatever you want and say whatever you want, and there are no limits. And I've heard this said before by certain other people that, just because you're a comedian doesn't mean that you get to make fun of this group or this person or this ailment or this situation and get away with it purely under the guise of it's comedy. This is something that has been very, very prominent lately when it comes to, let's say, Ricky Gervais. I believe that his comedy is nothing short of disgusting. And I actually thought that, what he did in the past at the award shows, I thought was really good because I could give a shit about award shows. I think they're nothing more than a big giant party where everybody gets to slap each other on the ass and tell each other how great they are, not really allowing the people in the world to decide how great you are. It's these people within this group that are determining how great they are. So when he did that, I was like, you know what? You're a funny guy. You finally came out and said it, and you did the right thing, and he didn't give a shit if he got canceled or hated on. Then his newest, and then he did a movie not too long ago, and you can actually see it if you follow my TikTok account. You can see that I actually made a video with it, where he's talking to a child with cancer, and this child is terminal, and the child asks him to come back, every single day, come back every single day, and he says, "I'll come back until you're better." And the premise of this is that the child is unfortunately terminal. The child's not going to get better, but he says he's going to come back every single day until he gets better. That's the positivity of this. And the movie itself and the clips itself are really, really positive. They're really uplifting, but it also is really, really emotional because it's a situation in a world that we're in and we understand. So props to him for doing that. But his recent comedy special and the recent special that went on really, it got into a lot of people's not their feels, but it got into their emotions, and it got into a part of their heart that I think really made all of us very angry. And of course, the very expected responses from the world when we decided to speak out was, if you don't like it, turn it off. It's meant to be a joke. It's not serious. If you don't like it, then you don't understand comedy, and da 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 da. It's on and on with all the complete bullshit and responses that we knew were coming. Very predictable responses. And we fought back, and we all fought back, and none of us backed down from this. We all decided and said that what he did was wrong. His joke about Make-A-Wish, which is, that has been a thorn in our craw for a long time, dealing with that, thinking that it's okay to make fun of this stuff, to make jokes about it, and then yell at us as a community because we're getting offended, but not understanding that unless you're part of this community, you wouldn't understand why it would upset us. You just think, well, you're just another pissed off parent that can't take comedy. But his joke was not necessarily, the Make-A-Wish part of it was not the bad part, or not even the Baldy comment that he made. He made a joke, and he referenced the word retarded, which we've been told for years now that that word is off limits, that that word is a no-go. There's even movements about not using that word anymore because it's offensive to people. And when you combine that with the childhood cancer community that he was referencing, with the Make-A-Wish community that he was referencing, and then you put that together, it was disgusting. And it was a disgusting display of what he called comedy, all in order to get jokes, meaning that our children and their plight and the things that they were going through and the things that those people go through that are dealing with Make-A-Wish and things of that nature, that it was all his pawn. It was all his stepping stone in order to make comedy. He had no other material. I don't agree with that joke. And you listening to this could, maybe you're going to turn it off now because you don't agree with my side of it. And that's fine. But that's the kind of community and that's the kind of people that we are. If you don't agree with us, you don't have to listen to what we're saying, or you could even fight back. I'm all for having debates and talks um, about this and other things that have either offended me or have upset me or have made me mad, whatever. I'm all for it. Let's sit down and have a conversation. If you truly feel like I'm wrong, I've got a comment section open on all these podcasts. You're more than welcome to talk about it. You're more than welcome to come and debate me on it if you'd like to. But I personally and a lot of people in this community felt that it was a very disgusting display of what he called comedy. And then and then to basically play it off and make it seem like, well, I'm a comic, so all of this is fair game and the whole world is fair game. I have a blank check to make fun of who I want, when I want, how I want, and I will get no repercussions because I'm a comic. I think that's bullshit. I think that's an absolute bullshit way to look at things. I think that it's a BS way to approach a subject or approach a community, to say, well, I can do what I want because of this job. But right now, there's not a job on this planet, not even the President of the United States, that has carte blanche to do what they want without the approval of others or without at least consulting other people. This These types of jokes are only going to continue to get more ruthless and disgusting if we allow the comedic community to just run rampant with this type of material and think that it's okay. And what I'm listen, I'm going to be on the hill of kids. Pediatric cancer is our hill. Children are the people that we fight for the most. You may have a different community that you want to fight for, a different group of people that you stand for. And I suggest you stand up as tall as you can and fight for those people. Um, we are not, as a community and as a family, I would like to say, easily offended, easily triggered, but we have in our lives and in these roads that we're put on and these struggles that are put in our way and these paths that we're forced to be on, we have tangled with horrible thoughts and images of real life hell. That's the difference here. Using it as a platform to make jokes, using it as a platform to make your money and make your living, while not physically understanding the actual battle that we go through as parents, of the community, the families, and the children go through, I think is disgusting. Because you can say, well, you know what, I've spent time with these families, I've granted wishes through Make-A-Wish, I've done whatever. That to me is meaningless if you don't truly understand why you're there. And I also understand that Make-A-Wish is not only for cancer, it is for everything out there. But if you're using that as your way to say, well, that's like saying you're not a racist because you have a black friend. That's like saying you're not homophobic because you have a gay friend. I can make jokes about this community because I have worked with Make-A-Wish. It's all the same. And it's all stupid, baseless arguments. And this community has been just left in the dust for so long, and it doesn't get listened to. It doesn't get given the ability to actually speak and say what we want to say. Doesn't get the chance to speak in front of the people that are going to make a difference, or get those people to give a damn and actually listen to what we're saying. But by God, make sure you use our children and our fight and our battle and our turmoil. Make sure you use that to make your money. Make sure you use that for your comedic relief. Why not? Just go ahead. We are fair game to you. You won't listen to us, but damned if you won't make fun of us every single day. That, to me, is bullshit, and it's disgusting. the comments and the comedy well, the comedy itself, but the comments that we get when we try to fight back against this stuff, and like I said, are very predictable. And the comedy to me is it's not funny. It's just not funny because it's not original. It's to me it's too easy to pick on the targeted person, to pick on the person that is the weakest or the least able to defend themselves. That's who you're picking on. You're picking on a community of children, a community of families that are weak and beaten and broken. You're picking on these people because it's easy, because you don't think we'll fight back. Well, you are so damn wrong. Your comments, your comedy, they don't slow us down. They don't. When they target our community and our kids, and they do so at an expense of what our warriors have gone through, we're going to defend it. We're going to throw punches. We're going to remove the enemy. That's our whole entire goal. Please, for everything out there, don't ever, when it comes to this community, the pediatric cancer community, and all the hell, the bullshit that we have been through, not only in the diagnosis stage, not only in the treatment stage, not only in all the documents that we have to sign that are basically signing away the lives of our children, not knowing if they're going to make it through these treatments, not knowing if they're going to make it through these surgeries, not knowing if they're going to make it through these clinical trials or these darts at a dartboard, which is how they treat a lot of these cancers, not knowing what's going to happen on the other side. Signing DNRs, signing a do not resuscitate for your 8-year-old child, because you know that it would be better for them to peacefully go to sleep than to suffer any longer through what they've been through. And you know that bringing them back from a state from where they are would mean they would be in so much more pain. They would be so much worse off than if we just let them go and let them be in heaven. We understand every single day that that's not the best place for them. The best place for them is with us. But we also know at some point, bringing somebody back and giving them a life of not being able to be themselves anymore, and to the absolute limit of being stuck in a bed and not being able to communicate, we sign those papers. But don't ever mistake our weakness at the point of going through this journey, this fight, this shit show. Don't mistake it. And don't mistake our awareness for bitching or our pain as a need for approval. We're here, we're strong, we're loud, and we're united as a community. We are 100% the pediatric cancer community. And our kids are off fucking limits. Period. I don't know what is so hard. I don't know what is so damn hard to understand about this. Whether it is jokes, whether it is it's comedy specials, whether it's Netflix, whether it's some stand-up that thinks it's fucking hilarious to use kids in their act and then get away with it because they've got a bit of a following on social media and they're just blowing up right now. Whether it is an island, whether it is any of that shit, our kids are off limits. I don't understand where it is written down somewhere that says it is okay. Because even in prison, it is well known and well documented that even in prison, kids are off limits. And you will have a whole different set of problems if you go to prison for hurting a child. And while this may not be a physical hurt that you're causing by getting up on stage and telling jokes, whether or not may not be a physical hurt by you getting up there and making fun of what they're going through, or making fun of their decision-making abilities, or their mental states, or their mental capacities based on what they've gone through, whether or not that's a physical or not, it still hurts. It is still essentially an assault on our community. And I have been very strong against this for a long time. And if any of you out there right now follow any of my other social media, you will realize that I am very, very strong and outspoken against the comedic community that thinks it's funny to make fun of our kids, that thinks it's funny to make fun of kids that are going through the worst times of their lives. And yeah, comedy is not a blank check. It never has been and it never will be. If you get into these comments and think, oh my God, that's so funny, we've all heard the joke, right? What never, things that never get old. What do they have in common? And it's the cancer kid joke. That is disgusting. That is absolutely horrible. And I hope to the heavens that the people that make those jokes have a very, very good run in with karma. And karma takes care of those people, because that is a disgusting way to look at things. It is a disgusting way to make jokes. And again, it is saying that I'm going to do it because I know these kids aren't going to fight back. And they're not going to fight back. You're right, they're not. But as parents and our community is going to fight back because we're disgusted. And there are far too many people out there that think that it's okay and okay to use this subject matter as a way to bring about specials and bring about TV shows, bring about your social media page, bring about all of that. Far too many people think that that's the step that we need to take in order to make money. There's no other way for us to possibly make money and to make people laugh than unless we're making fun of the most vulnerable people. I don't really understand when it comes to this. And we've dealt with this in the past. And I'm not saying that we changed anybody's mind. And I'm not saying that we brought anybody to the light. But I am saying that I was able to physically and personally talk to people about certain comedic, routines or jokes when it came to children battling cancer or Make-A-Wish. And we're able to have a meaningful conversation to at least explain why it is our community or our family would be upset. And again, I'm not saying that I changed anybody's mind. I'm not saying that I brought anybody to change the way that they tell jokes or run their comedy shows or things like that. But I like to think that having the opportunity to speak to people and give them an insight into why this might be offensive and why it's not just me being, just being a softie and just, easily triggered by everything. I think it meant a lot to myself and to these individuals. And I think what it comes down to is that having people in this community that want to speak and want to tell you why it is that this is an offensive thing to do, and why it's something that shouldn't be done on the regular, shouldn't be done with just, reckless abandon. That these are real people that you're talking about. These are real fighters, and these are real humans, and these are real genuine hearted. The soul of the country that we're missing so much is this genuine group of people, which is our children, our kids, and kids that are fighting the absolute worst battle of their life and the absolute worst trials and tribulations that they could ever face. It's these kids, and it's going through these cancer treatments, which are absolute hell. And I would like to think in my mind that if any of the people had the conversations that I had, and if any of these people that were going through this, instead of when we come out against it and tell you that you shouldn't do it, when we come out against it and tell you why it's offensive, instead of just fighting back and saying, well, I'm a comic, so I can say what I want. It's just a joke, get over it. Instead of coming back with that type of answer or that type of attitude, actually coming back and saying, I understand why you're upset, but I would love to understand more why it offends you so much, and actually listening to what we have to say. I think listening to us would make a huge difference. If people are willing to listen and people are willing to understand what we're going through, then I think that it would definitely change the course of the way they think they should handle these things, or it would change the course of the way they handle their shows and the way they put things on, or way they think that certain things would be okay or would be suitable for a comedy special. Now, I will never again agree or watch a Ricky Gervais special. I don't think that what he did was right. And I think that people that laughed at it or thought that it was funny, that point of it, when it came to making fun of kids and using a word that we've been told for the damn near 8 years now, if not longer than that, this is a word that we're not supposed to use. That word is a no-no. Well, more than 8 years. Hell, it's been a lot longer than that. Hell, it's, using that, and that's okay. That's okay because he's a comic, he's a comedian. That we have to take one of two roads. One is that we have to fix the way people see this and fix the way people hear and listen to this and understand that it's not okay. Or we have to go full tilt the other way and say whatever we want, whenever we want. And if it becomes offensive to somebody, we just have to say, well, I did it under in the context of comedy. So therefore, what's the problem? It was a comedy joke. So no matter what I say, as long as you say that it's comedy, you should be safe. And I think that's the precedent that is being set, and I think it's a precedent that needs to be set. It's either people need to realize why that's not the road that you need to be taking. People need to realize that that's not the types of jokes that need to be said, and the types of jokes that you think are funny. And instead of coming at us in the comments, if we make videos about something with your typical and predictable, well, if you don't like it, turn it off. It's just a joke. Quit being a baby. Or the my favorite are always, I'm so sorry for your loss, but it was just a joke. First of all, don't come at me with your bullshit half-assed I'm sorry for your loss, because that is like saying no offense before you say something offensive. The rest of your comment is irrelevant and it will be deleted. And I don't even deal with them anymore. They're just deleted and blocked and they're done with. But the thing is that's a very small percentage of the comments that we get within this community, at least on my stuff. Most of it on my own viewers is a positive on that, because they agree, not all of my words, but with the community, that this is not right. So as I said in the very beginning, like with this season, I think there's going to be a lot more hard hitting stuff. I think there's going to be a lot more with things that are going on in the world that are affecting how things are being treated when it comes to our children. Where our local government and federal government is focused, as opposed to where they should be focused. I think that's going to be a lot of what we talk about this season. Now, again, with this, in this community, I don't think that anybody can say that we are easily offended. We're easily triggered. I think that unfortunately, what happens is that we get caught with in these media streams and these comedy specials and all of this kind of stuff, and it triggers, if you want to use that word, a response that these people, um, that we have to face them full on. And I think that it's even expected by some in our community that we respond. And when all this came out with the Gervais special, and with, even in the past, I responded, and I responded very quickly, and I responded very harshly. And I wasn't the first one, and there was other people that had responded very harshly. And what I would say is that, we come together and we respond as a community, because this is essentially, to me, and it's an attack on everything that we stand for. Because if you make fun of us and you make fun of what our kids are going through, if you make fun of Make a Wish, if you make fun of the way they look and things like that and their mental capacity, if you make fun of that, then that takes everything that we have fought so hard for, and it takes us 3 steps backwards. Because now everybody's now only focusing on the jokes and the comedy, and they're focusing on us being triggered or offended, and if you want to call it that, they're focusing on that, but not focusing on what we've done. And like I said, it's not us being offended and triggered, it's us responding as protectors of this community. Now, listen, our daughter, JC, who is in heaven now, we love you. We miss you so much, baby girl. She was very, very into giving back to the community, giving back to everybody else, making everybody else smile, even in her worst times. And that is so profound in so many of these kids that we meet is that that's all they care about is how everybody else is feeling, how everybody else is doing, or how they will do if something the worst happens. And we're missing that in this community. We are missing that type of person, that type of people in this community. We're not having that type of interaction. We're having you guys already get so much. What are you complaining about this, that, and the other? And we fight so hard and we get so little. So it's not about getting offended when someone tells a bad joke. It's about hearing that um, that bad joke takes over everything that has been done and set up. It takes over everything that has been said. And then that's all that you care about. And no longer do they care about everything we fought for, everything we've been trying to fight for, all the words we put out there, the marches, whether the rallies or the protests, even if you want that, the going to the Capitol, working through legislation, going to DC, meeting at the White House or at the Capitol there. It's all that stuff gets whitewashed because all they see is, oh, this group of people got mad because he was telling a joke. Oh, or this, did you hear the joke about these kids? And oh, it's so funny, and they should just, lighten up and just, laugh at the situation. Listen, I'm all for comedy. I'm all for laughing and making light of a situation if it helps you get through. But it doesn't mean that everybody else has the right to jump in there unless you truly understand what's going on. You don't have the right to just jump in there and use our families, our fight, our battles, our losses. You all use all of that for your financial gain. I think that's a horrible, horrible way to do business. I think it means you're a horrible, horrible person. And that is not something that I will back down from, not ever something that I will ever change my views on. I hope, I don't want to lose people that are listening. I don't want to lose friends. I don't want to lose that. But at the same time, we have been through the absolute worst hell that a family and that a parent can go through, which is losing a child. It's losing a child very young. On top of that, being with your child every single day and watching them change, watching their body change, their mental status change, watching everything, watching your child take their last breath, watching your child, their heart, listening to your heartbeat for the last time, seeing your child's last communication with you being a head nod, not being able to speak, understanding that at that moment they're only caring to make sure you're okay and they're not worried about themselves, but they know that they're going to be safe. When you see those types of things and when you see the types of images that myself, my wife, and so many other families have in their head, things that we've seen along this treatment road, things that we've seen along the diagnosis and all of these hospital visits, things that we have seen that we may not have even shared with anybody else. When you see those type of things, when you see the inside of what this life is, I think that it would change in a heartbeat the way that you open your mouth and make a joke and think that it's okay, and then to tell me that it's just comedy. Because it's not just comedy. It is disgusting and it is horrific. And I hope that one day somebody comes out, someone bigger than me, that has a voice that's able to make a difference in that giant limelight that is Hollywood and actually tells them this isn't funny anymore. I hope one day there's a CEO of Netflix or the CEO of one of these streaming services that says we're not going to sign on to this comedy special or this TV show because it's disgusting and because it singles out and makes fun of a group of people that are all too often left behind. And I thought that was something that we were supposed to stand up for. Everybody is about standing up for everybody else and standing up for groups you feel have left behind. Well, the pediatric cancer community has been left behind for decades, and we're still left behind. We're still in the dark, and then we're in the dark ages with shitty, horrible percentages of funding. And I'll tell you something, to hear that it went from 4% funding to 9% funding, but it took 50 years to get there, that's disgusting. That is an absolute disgusting travesty in this country and in this world when it comes to taking care of our children, our most precious assets, the most precious thing we have on this planet, which is why gold represents the pediatric cancer community. These podcasts in this season are going to be a lot more hard hitting. I have a lot inside of me. I've detailed our journey and I will continue to do that, but I'm going to continue to come at these social issues and these social justice and social things that are happening in our world today and things that are taking over the mainstream airwaves, things that are taking over Washington, things that are taking over our capitals, things that our Republican and Democrat friends are fighting for, that to me are completely worthless wastes of time. and better spent on taking care of the people that will be here in the future. Because if we don't take care of our kids, who the hell is going to run the country in the future? Who the hell is going to be there to take care of us? We won't have anybody. It's time that our community is listened to. It is time that our community is given the respect that we demand. Thank you all so much for sticking with me this week. This is going to be, once again, season 2. This is episode 1 of season 2. I will do more hard hitting episodes this season. If you have any ideas that you'd like to hear, please comment them. Please send them in through email, whatever you got to do to get in contact with me. This will also be up on YouTube, so you can watch the video there. You can see me. Hi. You can also hear it on Stitcher, Apple, Spotify. Thank you guys.